Mee's force reached Cavaldon, a small, run-down town.
The Blackclads, they've a strong garrison in place.
Proclaimed her scouts upon returning from a foray.
And they stand prepared for a siege. Their stores overflow, and we see ballistas, scorpions.
Cavaldon can be taken,
began Reynard hesitantly.
but not without losses. Considerable losses.
A retreat? Is that what you advise?
I fear the soldiers wouldn't take to such a course. They're eager, Your Grace. They've a fire in them. Order a retreat and you could devastate morale.
Disgruntled soldiers I far prefer to dead ones,
said the Queen.
Sound the retreat. We'll fight another day. I can promise them that.
The Lyrians found themselves beneath Cavaldon's walls again, wondering once more if they should attack so heavily fortified a town.
Our losses may be heavy,
said Mee, drawing her sword.
But I'll make certain the vile invader suffers even more. Order the troops to prepare. We will attack.
Soon after, the Lyrians moved on Cavaldon, war drums rumbling in step to their march. Upon the walls, the Nilfgaardians stood poised to defend.
I won't leave a single city to these invader scum! For Lyria! For Rivia!
All right, that's no problem.
Catch!
For you, pal! Anything.
My, now that is some fancy weaponry. Bet it's still got that new war machine smell.
We must bring down their walls! Crush them!
I smell a leak.
Life is mine now.
Wise choice.
Feel any burning? See a local healer or wise woman.
Of course, as you wish, master. You sure about that?
It's not too late to walk away.
Wanna know why I got my scar?
Herzer.
Farmahagam!
My prescription, a bit of blood.
Yes. Destillat Zweifel!
Herzer.
Yes.
A highly curious case.
Erigor. We did it, Your Grace. The city is ours.
The Nilfgaardians had indeed prepared well, with grapples to repel hook ladders from the walls and long spears to rain down upon attackers far below. Meve managed on the fourth attempt to breach the defenses, but did so scrambling over the corpses of her own men. The Queen was in the field tent when Reynard arrived with surprising news. To be heard over the groans of the wounded, he had to raise his voice.
Your Grace, a delegation of townsfolk. They seek an audience urgently.
Dozens of burghers stood before the tent. Between them and the Queen, a man knelt in shackles. His face was blooded as if he'd endured a vicious beating just moments before.
Who's this?
Our blacksmith, Todo.
Snarled a priestess in a frayed robe.
He betrayed you, Your Grace. Soon after the Nilfgaardians arrived, within hours in truth, he offered his labor and strength. They didn't even need to ask. Forged arms and armor for them, all for imperial gold.
Meave gripped the beaten man's beard, tugged upwards, and looked him in the eyes.
Did you forge the hooks and the tips for those spears?
I did, Your Grace.
It was fine work.
Growled the Queen.
Damned fine.
Show him mercy, milady!
Cried a withered old man in a flour-spattered apron.
When the black-clad bastards captured my son, they were eager to hang him. Todor spoke for him, saved his life.
He helped me too.
Hollered a woman in the crowd.
I were hungry. He shared what little he had.
The townsfolk began shouting over one another. Some told of the blacksmith's noble deeds. Others labelled him a traitor deserving of a cruel and violent end. Meave turned back towards the field hospital, pondering the case. Then spotted her soldiers' corpses laid out in rows. Had it not been for Todor, there might not have been so many.
Mother,
Willem's voice pierced the air, replete with tension.
my offences were far graver, yet you showed me compassion.
You forged and gave the invader arms. The invader then used them to spill the blood of your neighbours, countrymen.
Began Meave, her jaw clenched.
Blood for blood. We'll now spill yours. Take this traitor to the square, and off with his head.
All Cavaldon gathered for the execution. Most cheered and jeered for the smith's head to roll. Yet a handful shuffled their feet uneasily as tears welled in their eyes.
Mom, I've come to tell you I must leave your army.
What? Why?
Against my better judgment, I joined you to heal your wounded. I realize now that was a mistake.
What exactly do you mean?
What you did runs counter to all my beliefs. You had your reasons, and have them still, I know. Yet I've no desire to abet them. I'd feel shame to lend a hand.
What can I do? Is there anything that would make you stay?
No, Mom. Farewell.
So be it. Good luck and Godspeed, Isbel. 20 soldiers died today, wresting Cavaldon from Nilfgaard's grip.
Said Meave, her tone cold and unforgiving.
'Twas your iron that felled them. 'Twill be your blood that pays the debt. 5 lashes for each of the fallen.
Todor's torturers were several, as no one man's arm could complete 100 blows. Amazingly, Todor survived the ordeal, but his body had been broken. He'd never put hammer to anvil again, and spent the rest of his days a beggar.
He weren't a bad person, milady. He strayed, aye, but deserved no such fate.
This man forged arms for the Nilfgaardians. 'Tis true.
Said Meave to the crowd.
Yet you, Baker, baked the bread they ate. And you, Potter, stained the cups from which they drank. Willingly or not, each of you aided the invader. Where does pursuing one's craft end and treason begin? I've no answer to that. So I shan't punish any for doing merely what's theirs to do.
Upon hearing the verdict, the Queen's troops stared in disbelief, then began to boil. As she walked back calmly to the tent, they jeered and hissed. At the last, it took Reynard to calm them down. Meave had saved Todor, but she was convinced she'd not see the blacksmith again. Come evening, he returned to the camp, with a wagon full of arms so new they shone.
If it weren't for you, Your Grace, they'd have torn me to bits with their bare hands.
He said, kneeling before her.
I thank you for speaking up for me. For my innocence, that is. I've a gift for you. A gift I knows you'll put to proper use.
Meave took a spear in hand, put it to her shoulder, and gazed down the shaft. The tip glowed red in the light of the setting sun.
Of that, my friend, you can be sure.
Freedom will cost us dearly. Dearly indeed. Freedom will cost us dearly. dilly indeed.
How could you, your majesty? He's crafted weapon for it blackclads. The very same what killed our lads. How could you, your majesty? He's crafted weapon for it blackclads. The very same what killed our lads.
Your Majesty, the hut's untouched. Ripe grain in the fields, 'tis hard to believe. I feared we'd have another Edirn here, with the blackclads setting fire to all.
I feared nothing of the sort. Nilfgaard's not stupid. Lands it aims to hold, it doesn't destroy. And Willem did bend the knee to the Emperor.
Blood washes away all shame!
I'll fight to my last breath.
New orders? No? Nothing personal, I assure you.
They got him up here!
Must be an important lesson in this. But what?
Don't need no weapon! Nilfgaard! Come here! Let's dance! Wise choice.
All right, that's no problem.
You mad? Don't shake that!
In retreat! This could hurt.
Think I'm afeard!
A knight should help. Our codex commands it.
To work!
Obedience or the lash!
Make love, not war.
Back in line!
That will do.
Her Majesty knows what she's doing.
Feel any burning? See a local healer or wise woman.
This one's got spirit. Catch him! He's worth 20 florins! You mad? Don't shake that!
152, 154.
For you, pal! Anything! This could hurt. Come here! Let's dance!
Scrubbing duty again? Oh, gods.
The Morrowind drink with our forefathers! Life is mine now.
Wise choice.
saw them. No other way.
Ends here! Time I wiped it away!
So much anger and suffering. For what?
Order!
How did that incantation go?
You sure about that?
Her Majesty knows what she's doing.
I fear not, for faith guides me.
Are we here?
For Mahagam!
Ach, Scheiß! In zwei!
Off to the front yet again.
Quiet! The Commissar will hear.
Broadhead now loomed before Meve and her force. Once famous for its glowing forges and clanking manufactories, the city now stood silent. Why, you might ask? Because Mahakam. Decades past, it had opened its gates to human merchants and dwarven arms, exquisitely crafted and not nearly as dear as those made by man. The caravans had simply stopped coming to Broadhead. When its black-clad garrison spotted the Lyrians approaching, they'd hastily fled, left the city's gates open wide. Yet, they did not leave empty-handed. Their convoy comprising at least a dozen wagons loaded ostensibly to the hilt.
With what might they have fled?
With something damn heavy,
replied Gascon, squinting his eyes.
Look at this. 2 horses to pull each wagon, and the wheels cut deep into the road.
Just a few months past 'twas we who fled the black-clad hordes,
said Meve, her tone and mien betraying disgust.
Now our roles stand reversed. We are the aggressor. Well, let them run, I say. And let all Rivia see Nilfgaard tuck tail, rather than face us in a fight.
The Queen strode towards the open gates, slowly, deliberately, wondering still what spoils the invader had carried off. Crumbling walls, shattered windows, rotted wood.
What they've taken from my city,
began the Queen.
They've taken from me, and I will have it back. Follow me!
Meve spurred her horse and galloped off in pursuit of the fleeing caravan. When the Blackclads realized they had no hope of escape, they planted pikes and feet, bracing for the assault.
Stop! Whatever you carry belongs to me!
They gain ground! Dal Seifel!
Life is mine now!
Oh, could murder a pint.
You mad? Don't say that!
Have her done in a jiffy.
This could hurt!
Gloire!
Wise choice.
My boots got sand aplenty in them.
Order!
For Demavend!
I'd hoped we could solve this some other way.
Company! Forward march!
Alba! I fear not, for faith guides me.
Enough! I refuse to die for these scraps!
Meave personally, and none too gently, shackled the Nilfgaardian commander, a young nobleman with a precisely trimmed moustache. Like many noble Imperials, he spoke fluent common.
The wagons. What's in them, Captain?
Scrap, Your Majesty.
The Imperial promptly replied. Noting the Queen's confusion, he elaborated.
To be melted down and recast into arrowheads and spear tips. Our engineers originally planned to use the foundries in Broadhead, yet these proved too primitive. We were ordered to remove the scrap, take it elsewhere.
Any pride from the victory vanished in an instant, and Meave swelled with anger, but also with shame. The shame came from realizing that to the invader her realm was naught more than a weak, underdeveloped backwater. Meave slammed the chest she'd opened shut.
Blast it! Back to Broadhead. Let's ride.
Crumbling walls, shattered windows, rotted wood. Broadhead was bleak, a dull shadow of its former self. As the Lyrians entered, the somber townsfolk glared at the arrivals and uttered not a word. That is, until they saw Willem and began to hiss and growl. Meave resolved to address the crowd.
Folk of Broadhead, you're free at last. The Nilfgaardian occupation is done.
Aye, and a new one starts now.
Are you mad, man? Don't you recognize our banners? The Lyrian army stands before you.
Oh, I recognise banners. Served neath them as a sergeant 15 long years. And then I came back to my own town. Know what I found? Hardship and squalor, your grace. All had gone to shite. On account of damn dwarves. Been flooding Rivia with their metal goods for years now. Us smiths don't so much as light their pipes in their foundries no more. You call yourselves the Lyrian army. Colours and banners confirm it. Well, what about your arms? Weren't forged in us fires, but in Mahakams, by us worst foes. Hell, I even see some at knobheads in your ranks. And right behind, Prince Willem, who bent a knee to blackclads not long past. So what freedom's it you're giving us, your grace? Freedom to beg in common, not in Nilfgaard's mongrel tongue.
Beg? What do you want about, man?
There's no levy on goods from Mahakam. But without it, us workshops don't stand a chance. And ye, your grace, you wear their armour, bear their arms, and bring bearded bastards to our doorstep.
I needn't listen to this. Guards! 20 lashes!
Ha! Hear that, good folk? Now do you see? This here's the freedom our Queen so graciously delivers!
Silence, you fool!
There's a war on. I do whatever I must to win.
Aye, Majesty. And you run up a debt with dwarves. A debt you'll need to repay. At the cost of your own craftsmen.
Enough. Silence. Consider yourself lucky you've a merciful queen. I'd have had your head off by now. Move along.
The dwarves are faithful allies. They help us because...
'Cause they've got something to gain. Simple as that.
Enough. Silence. Consider yourself lucky you've a merciful queen. I'd have had your head off by now. Move along.